Good morning, everyone. Please confirm if you can hear me clearly.
Yes, ma'am, we can.
Thank you.
We can.
All right, thank you.
Ma, we can.
If you are a panelist, kindly
Yes,
turn on
we
your
can.
video. We'll be starting in a minute.
Yes, ma'am, we can.
Our panelists, kindly turn. If you're a panelist, kindly turn on your video. This is a good time to check your video, check your audio.
Have you edited the YouTube, what is reading there?
Yes.
Okay. And then your voice is not sharp. I don't know.
Okay, can you all hear me clearly? Kindly confirm if you can hear me loud and clear now.
Yes, ma'am, we can hear you clear.
Thank you. Settle down, take a deep breath, take water. We're about to start. I just want to give others a few minutes to join us. If you're a panelist, please turn on your video. Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for showing up early. Settle down, take a deep breath, relax. We're going to have a great time today. Trying to get all panelists in before we start. We're going to start in the next 2 minutes. So that's 5 minutes. Yes, that's 1:05. We'll start in the next 2 minutes. Remember, no pressure at all. Take a deep breath. We're just here to talk. We're just here to talk and understand things better. So relax. It's going to be an amazing event. An amazing event.
I'm
And
muted.
congratulations for being in the
I'm not
first.
seeing anybody's face. Okay. Oh.
Okay,
Yeah, I see stickers. I make stickers.
kindly mute your
Yeah,
mic,
but
please. Who is that? Kindly mute your mic, everyone, please.
I don't know. Is there a way the host can mute everybody else? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Yes. Is there a way the host can mute everybody automatically? Because it won't be nice to have that while it's going on.
Yes,
It's
yes, that's
possible, right?
yes.
Okay. All right. Well done.
Thank you.
Hello, everybody. How many people are here now? 24.
Yes.
Any familiar faces? Interesting. Okay. All right. You're welcome. Have the best time.
Thank you, ma'am.
All right.
All right, that's time on the dot. So good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, panelists. Welcome, a special welcome to our grand host for today, Madam Valentina Ofiepri Uchebu. Welcome, Madam, the Vision Custodian of the Amdora Youth Impact Initiative, the Executive Director of Africa Young Diplomats Project, the Future Founders Program, and our grand patron for Yoda, Young Diplomat Association. Welcome, Madam. Everyone, reactions, welcome. Madam, welcome. We're happy to have you here. Special welcome to our special guests. Sir Emmanuel is here already. Sir Emmanuel Amio, thank you so much, sir, for being here. Sir Emmanuel is the advisory board member for the Amdora Youth Impact Initiative. We love Sir Emmanuel so much. Thank you so much, Sir Emmanuel, for being here. And to all panelists, thank you for coming early. Thank you for getting here well ready, prepared. Thank you so much. And to our audience from all over the world, thank you. You're welcome, you're welcome, you're welcome. We are going to have an amazing time today. My name is Gift Zoe, and I'm going to be moderating the GYD today. I'm here to guide. I'm here to ensure there's a smooth flow, there's good understanding, and I want you to know we are going to have a great time. Enlightenment, a great time to understand things better. So welcome everybody. Let's see reactions if you're good to go and you're ready for today's program. Let's see your reactions. Yeah, Becky Adams, I see you. Isaac, Kay, Dolores, Stella, Amadu, Sonia, I see all of you. Thank you. You're welcome. You're welcome. All right. So we're going to start today with the opening prayer and the national anthem. Now, this is going to be taken by Stella Ihiazo Ezine. Stella, are you ready for us?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, please go ahead.
Nigeria, we hail thee, our own dear native land. Though tribe and tongue may differ, in brotherhood we stand. Nigerians all are proud to serve our sovereign motherland. O God of all creation, grant this our one request. Help us build a nation where no man is oppressed. And so, with peace and plenty, Nigeria may be blessed. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Thank you very much, Stella. Stella was the chairperson, Uni Abuja 2025, an amazing leader and singer. I'm sure you can tell. Thank you so much, Stella. Thank you so much, Stella. Now, before we go into the main program, I think we are too quiet. So I would just allow you to unmute your mic, the panelists, and just say hello, shake off the pressure, shake it off. So for the next 30 seconds, everyone unmute your mic and let's have some noise here. Quickly. Hello, Sonia. Hello, Najat. Hello.
Everyone.
Hello,
Hello.
Good. All right.
Hello, everyone.
Yes, this is the way to check your mic that's working. All right. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you. Oh, yeah, I'm turning on the mics now. Thank you. All right. Thank you. That was a good one. A good way to exercise your vocal. Okay. Now, the next thing on our list is the introduction to the Amdora Youth Impact Initiative. Now, this initiative is a great one, and you need to know the name. You need to know what it's all about. The funny thing is some people call it Amadora, some people call it Andorra, some people, oh my goodness, we've heard lots. In fact, we have 1,000 names, but well, it's good. So today we're going to be watching a video quickly, an introduction video to let us know more about the organization for the next 3 minutes. Yes, please stay tuned. When young minds are enlightened, the future becomes intentional. Amdora Youth Impact Initiative is a non-governmental organization registered with the Corporate Affairs Commission dedicated to youth enlightenment and strategic exposure. We exist to prepare young people not merely to participate in the world, but to understand it, influence it, and lead within it with purpose. Our vision is stewarded by our vision custodian, Mrs. Valentina Ofiepri Uchebu, whose passion for youth development, leadership, and purposeful impact defines the direction of our work. This vision is strengthened by a team of experienced professionals and advisory board members drawn from leadership, diplomacy, education, and development sectors. Amdora partners with schools, institutions, government bodies, and global organizations to equip young people with clarity, confidence, and a global mindset. Our work is anchored in 2 flagship programs: the Future Founders Program, which introduces young people to entrepreneurship, innovation, self-development, and the skills required to build solutions to real-world problems. The Africa Young Diplomats Project focuses on leadership, diplomacy, critical thinking, public speaking, character development, and problem solving. We operate through active school club, zonal structures, and community engagement. Currently, our school clubs are active in institutions such as Now University of Nigeria and the University of Abuja, with an expanding presence across Abuja, Lagos, Kano, Kaduna, Katsina, Lokoja, and Enugu. To date, we have reached over 10,000 young people across Nigeria and beyond. Our programs include the Diplomatic General Assembly, school-based diplomatic simulations, the Unplugged series, Elevate series, the Future Founders Program, the annual Africa Youth Day Conference, online webinars, mentorship initiatives, and the Yoda Leadership Summer Program. One of Amdora's core goals is to contribute to the realization of the African Union Agenda 2063. We believe that to build the Africa we want, tomorrow's leaders must be prepared today through enlightenment and education about the Africa we have. This is enlightenment with purpose. This is exposure with strategy. Amdora Youth Impact Initiative, Young Minds, Global Vision. Oh, amazing, amazing. I had the smile on my face watching the video. I could see some of you. I think I saw myself. I don't even know I was there, but it's so beautiful to see how far and how much the Amdora Youth Impact is doing. I don't think the reactions are enough. I think we need more reactions. More. You should be ready to do this. All right. A big thank you to the Amdora Youth Impact Initiative for being a blessing to this generation. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Okay, now we're going to talk about the GYD program for the next 1 minute to make you understand what it's all about. This is the first edition. So I think you should clap yourself again for being in the first edition, the Global Youth Dialogue. I told you be ready with the reactions. Keep them coming. This is amazing. The Global Youth Dialogue is beyond a debate. How many of you did the debates in school? You did your debates in primary school, secondary school, you did a debate. Good day, moderators, accurate timekeeper, co-debaters. I'm here to convince and not confuse. It's beyond that. Now, we are not getting the first position or the second position. We are here to talk. Because when we can share our perspective, there's going to be better understanding. And when there's better understanding, people work better, systems work better. So we are here to learn. We are here to hear you speak. And this is giving the youth a platform to speak. So we no longer have the problem of, oh, the youths are not being heard. They're not allowing the youths to talk. This is your platform. And that's what the Global Youth Dialogue is all about. It's beyond a conversation. It's giving strength to your voice. It's building confidence. It's cutting enlightenment, exposure. So I like you to know that you are in a good place of growth to learn, to connect. Now, I like you to clap yourself again for being in the first edition of the Global Youth Dialogue. Clap yourself, clap yourself. You're amazing, you're amazing. Next on the list is the introduction. I can see beautiful faces here. Our panelists are ready. They are ready to give us make us have a great time. So we're going to be introducing the panelists, after which we will read the summary for today's topic, and then we'll introduce our special guest, Sir Emmanuel, whom we love so much. All right, just a second, please. Favor, if you're here, please send a message. Let me know. Thank you. All right. So to the introduction. Najat Umar, if you hear your name and you're here, just let us know you're here, reaction. And I'd like everybody to also encourage when yes. Najat Umar is a 300 level nursing student at the College of Nursing Sciences, UDUTH, with a strong interest in leadership, health, and community development. Her training in healthcare and growing experience in entrepreneurship have shaped a thoughtful approach to service and empowerment. She is intentional about personal growth and aspires to contribute meaningfully at the intersection of health, policy, and social impact. Everybody please meet Najat Omar. Hussaini Mujahida is a third-year pharmacy student at the University of Abuja. She's passionate about youth and women's empowerment and has actively volunteered in community projects. She strives to excel academically and make a positive impact in her field and community. Everybody, please meet Hussaini Mujahida. Chisom Precious Ikebudu is a 200 level student of Nnamdi Azikiwe University, Awka. She serves as a secretary of Lego Minds Unizik chapter, an active member of Veritas Chambers Faculty of Law, active member of ILSA, WALSA, ALSA, PLD, and FIDA, Anambra State, passionate about leadership, humanitarian service, and advocacy with a strong interest in helping people and promoting female child rights. She aspires to establish a charity foundation dedicated to community development, empowerment, and social impact. Everybody, please meet amazing Chisom Precious. Baki Adams holds a BSc in political science from the University of Lagos, an aspiring diplomat, and a highly motivated research enthusiast. His research interest spans the field of international relations and diplomacy, development studies, and political economy. Everyone, please meet Baki Adams. He was part of the panel. Yesterday, we had a session in Lagos, and Baki Adams was one of them. Well done, Baki Adams. We are so proud of you. We have Iso P. Smart, 200 level student, Uni Abuja, student parliamentarian, also assistant financial secretary for our chamber, Jubri's Chamber, Faculty of Law, Uni Abuja. She's passionate about leadership, advocacy, personal growth, and development in impacting knowledge to the younger generation. Outside of school, she's a content creator, social media manager, digital marketer, and aspiring forex trader. Everybody, please meet Iso Peace. We have amazing people here, I tell you. We have Chukudi Blossom, a 300 level student studying law at Federal University Oye Ekiti. In as much as she loves law, she also enjoys content creation. She's team-spirited and a go-getter. Everyone, please meet Chukudi Blossom. Where are the reactions? I'm not seeing them. I need more. I need more. We have Joaquin. He is a Peruvian senior year student at the Jesuit School Cristo Rey in Tacna. He serves as a general secretary at the JPDC Youth Collective, a youth-led NGO promoting diplomacy, democratic culture, and a member of the UNHCR Youth Network in Tacna. He seeks for spaces of dialogue and possibilities of building solutions with different points of view through the diplomacy. Please meet Joaquin from Peru. All right, we have Badebo Abdullahi, a first-class graduate, clap again, a first-class graduate of agricultural economics from Yakubu Gowon University, student of research and award-winning food system innovator with interest in sustainable food systems and circular bioeconomy. Leveraging his multidisciplinary background, he aims to drive transformative impact across the spheres of international relations and diplomacy, rural development, and global economic policy. Please meet Badebo. Where are the reactions? I want to see them anytime I look at the screen. All right, so we have Amadou Sonia Yusuf, a penultimate year student at the Uni Abuja studying fisheries, aquaculture, and wildlife with a strong commitment to academic excellence and personal development. She's deeply passionate about growth, productivity, and knowledge sharing, particularly at the intersection of agriculture, diplomacy, and psychology. I think she's amazing. Everyone meet Amadou Sonia Yusuf. And we have Okejuela Emanuela, a Nigerian young lady driven by God and her passion to see Nigerian youth, African youth, and youth in the world thrive in all aspects of their lives. She believes in Pan-Africanism and has begun her journey to the international arena, starting with her joining AYDP. Please clap yourself. Let's clap for all the panelists, amazing people. This is beautiful. Before you just see, my name is Joy Okonkwo, and I'm a girl. Now look at this. This is amazing. This is amazing. Please clap yourself. Clap yourself. And before we go to introduce our special guest, Sir Emmanuel, that we love so much, I like to read the summary so that when I'm done, I'll introduce Sir Emmanuel and he will go into the setting the tone for today. All right. So this is an important summary for everyone. Members of the audience, we see you. I'd like you to also drop your locations. Let's know where you're connecting from. So this is an important summary for everybody, including the audience, so you have a good understanding of what we are talking about today. I know the panelists are ready, but I'm not too sure about the audience. So this is a summary to give you a good understanding of what we're going to do today. Welcome, Tomiwa from Lagos. All right. Summary, Nigerian-France Tax Memorandum of Understanding. A memorandum of understanding is an agreement between two or more parties that outlines areas of cooperation. It is a formal way to establish shared intentions and collaboration without being a law or legally binding. MOUs are used to provide a framework for knowledge sharing, technical support, and joint project. The Nigeria-France Tax MOU was signed on December 10, 2025 at the French Embassy in Abuja. The agreement was signed by the chairman of the Federal Inland Revenue Service and the representative of France, Director General de Finances Publiques. Pardon my French. The MOU focuses on promoting efficient tax administration and enhancing cooperation between Nigeria and France's revenue authorities. It covers areas such as capacity building, technical assistance, digital transformation, taxpayer services, compliance management, and modernization of tax systems. It also allows collaboration on information exchange, transfer pricing, and international taxation challenges, including base erosion and profit shifting. The agreement forms part of Nigeria's broader effort to modernize its tax system during the transition from FIRS to Nigerian Revenue Service, NRS, and reflects cooperation on global standards in taxation and digital economy challenges. This MOU provides an example of how international partnerships can support institutional development and knowledge sharing. So this is a summary of the Nigerian-France Tax Memorandum of Understanding. And I'm sure when we start the discussion, we will have a better understanding. We get to understand the benefits and the implications of this new system. Now I'd like to read the bio of Sir Emmanuel Amiyo Efbodage. We love so much again. I like to read his bio, and after that, Sir Emmanuel is going to set the tone for today's conversation. So I'd like you to listen attentively. Sir Emmanuel is a content specialist whose work experience spans business and human capital development, resource mobilization and management, communication and marketing, strategic planning and negotiation for mutually beneficial outcomes. He is the Executive Director of Center for Development and Corporate Responsibility, former Director of Administration at Atlas Field Integrated Company Limited, and the former Resource Mobilization and Partnership Specialist in the United Nations Development Programme, UNDP. Over the last 7 years, he has served as the permanent lead facilitator and rapporteur of the yearly Nigerian International Energy Summit organized by the Ministry of Petroleum and NNPC. He's a member of the Nigerian Institute of Management and an associate of the Nigerian Institute of Public Relations. Sir Emmanuel has delivered lectures on behalf of UNDP in the areas of resource mobilization, partnerships, and sustainable development in countries such as the UK, USA, Switzerland, Germany, Senegal, Benin, Nigeria, and Bulgaria. He continues to network and make contributions towards Africa International Relations model. He's presently working to develop a Nigerians in the Diaspora database, which will project achievers and capture the challenges of migration. Sir Emmanuel has consulted for companies, especially oil companies, in the areas of corporate social responsibility and community development. He has produced 2 publications for Raw Material Research Development Council titled Blueprint for Establishing Raw Materials Processing in Nigeria, and 2 publications for his NGO titled Beyond Oil Viability of Local Government in Nigeria and Value Chain of Critical Crops in Nigeria, World Supply, Demand, Gaps and Market Outlook. Sir Emmanuel is an international relations activist with bias for economic diplomacy as the surest pathway to being accorded respect on the global stage. He is the founder, curator of the History of Africa Club, and an advisory board member of the Africa Young Diplomats Project. Everyone, join me welcome Sir Emmanuel Amiyu. Thank you very much, Sir Emmanuel Amiyu, for always being there for the Amdora Youth Impact Initiative. We are so blessed to have you. Thank you very much, sir. And now we are going to listen to Sir Emmanuel Amiyu as he sets the tone for today. All right, thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Oh, Sir Emmanuel, we can't hear you. Please hold
Can
on,
you hear
everyone.
me?
Yes, we can hear you clearly. Thank you very much, sir.
Okay, all right. Good afternoon. It's great to be here. And I'm glad to see that we have quite some numbers from across the country and beyond. Just to set the tune about today's topic, I'd like to read a very short statement on the Nigeria-France Tax Memorandum of Understanding and its implication. I've actually forwarded it to the host, so if it can be posted or projected for all to see, that would be lovely. Distinguished young diplomats, ladies and gentlemen, today I want to speak on a subject that sits at the intersection of international cooperation, fiscal governance, and national sovereignty. The Nigerian-France Tax Memorandum of Understanding and what it means for our tax system and governance priorities and our fiscal autonomy. This agreement is more than a technical document. It is a statement of intent and a roadmap for modernization and a test of how Nigeria balances global collaboration with national independence. The background and context of this MOU. In late 2025, Nigeria's Federal Inland Revenue Service entered into a memorandum of understanding with the French tax authority. The purpose was clear: to strengthen cooperation in tax administration to share expertise and to introduce modern digital tools into Nigeria's tax system. France, with its advanced digital tax infrastructure, offers Nigeria access to artificial intelligence, which powers audits and automates compliance systems and data-driven governance models. For Nigeria, this partnership is part of a broader effort to diversify revenue sources, reduce dependence on oil, and build a tax system that is efficient, transparent, and globally competitive. But as with every international agreement, the implications go beyond the technical. They touch on governance, on sovereignty, and the very question of how Nigeria defines its fiscal future. What are these implications for Nigeria's tax system? Let us begin with the tax system itself. The MOU promises modernization. By introducing advanced digital tools, Nigeria can reduce tax evasion, broaden the tax base, and improve compliance. Imagine a system where audits are faster, where compliance is automated, and where loopholes are harder to exploit. That is the promise of this cooperation. It also brings capacity building. Nigerian tax officials will gain access to French expertise, learning from international best practices in digital administration. This is not just about technology, it is also about skills, knowledge, and institutional strengthening. Furthermore, the agreement emphasizes data-driven governance. By sharing aggregated economic data, Nigeria can improve policy planning, identify trends, and make evidence-based decisions. Importantly, the MOU specifies that raw taxpayer data will remain protected, with only aggregated insights shared. This is a safeguard, but one that must be vigilantly enforced. Yet, challenges remain. Nigeria's tax system operates in a unique context with a large informal sector, infrastructural gaps, and varying levels of digital literacy. Imported systems must therefore be adapted to local realities. Otherwise, modernization risks becoming misalignment. What are the governance priorities? The MOU also speaks directly to Nigerians' governance priorities. Transparency and accountability are at the heart of this agreement. By reducing opportunities for corruption and improving compliance, Nigeria can build greater trust in its institutions. Revenue mobilization is another priority. For decades, Nigeria has relied heavily on oil resources, but the volatility of global oil markets has shown us the dangers of such dependence. Strengthening tax compliance and broadening the tax base are essential steps in diversifying revenue streams. Institutional strengthening is equally important. This agreement signals Nigeria's commitment to building strong institutions capable of managing complex tax systems. It is a recognition that governance is not just about priority policies, but about institutions that can implement them effectively. Finally, public trust must be considered. Citizens may worry about data privacy and foreign involvement. Nigeria must reassure its people that safeguards are in place, drawing inspiration from Europe's stringent data protection standards. Now let us turn to the question of fiscal autonomy. Cooperation is valuable, but sovereignty must be protected. Data sovereignty is a key concern. Sharing data, tax data with France, even in aggregated form, raises questions about external influence and control. Nigeria must ensure that its data remains secure and that its fiscal decisions are not compromised by external actors. Policy independence is another concern. While cooperation brings benefits, Nigeria must guard against over-reliance on foreign systems. Our fiscal policies must remain ours, shaped by our realities, our priorities, and our people. In conclusion, what do all of this mean? The Nigeria-France tax MOU is a double-edged sword. On one side, it offers modernization, efficiency, and global integration. On the other, it raises questions of sovereignty, autonomy, and adaptation. The way forward is clear. Nigeria must leverage the benefits, which includes digital tools, compliance improvements, and capacity building, while safeguarding fiscal independence through strong legal frameworks, robust data protection, and transparent governance. We must adapt global best practices to local realities, ensuring that modernization strengthens rather than dilutes our fiscal autonomy. Diplomats, young diplomats, ladies and gentlemen, this MOU is not just about taxation. It is about Nigeria's broader governance priorities. If we succeed, Nigeria will not only modernize its tax system, but also reinforce its governance and diversify its revenue base and strengthen its fiscal autonomy. That is the promise. That is also the challenge, and that is the opportunity before us. In closing, let me emphasize the Nigerian-France tax MOU is a milestone, but it is also a test. Globally and nationally, everyone is watching, and history will judge us not by the agreements that we have signed, but how we have implemented them. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sir Emmanuel. What do we say to Sir Emmanuel? Thank you. Let's have reactions. Thank you so much. We are always so grateful to Sir Emmanuel for always showing up and supporting us. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you for taking us on the background, the implications for Nigerian tax system, the governance priorities, fiscal autonomy, and sovereignty concerns. Thank you so much for this perfect work. I'm sure we have perfect understanding of what we are going to be discussing today. Thank you once again, Sir Emmanuel. We appreciate you. All right. My amazing, my intelligent panelists, are you ready for us today? Where's the energy? We need to see it. Where's the energy? Where's the energy? I'm waiting for it. Reactions, reactions, reactions. Do you want to jog? Just kidding. Welcome again. This is the time for us to hear you speak. And we are going to start with a 1-minute stance. Every panelist will give a 1-minute stance to help us know your view, to hear you, to know what you think about the topic today. So get ready. But first of all, I like to just check attendance to be sure I have all panelists here. So please, all panelists, you can just unmute your mic. So you just say present, the way we do it in school. Quickly, a very fast one. Najat Umar. This is also to check your mic. Najat, we didn't hear you, so check your mic. Nope, we can't hear you, so work on it. I'll get back to you, Najat. Baki Adams.
Present.
Yes, so you could try speaking up louder, okay. Chukudi Blossom. Is Chukudi here? Okay, maybe the network. Emanuela, okay.
Present, ma'am.
Yeah, that was loud and clear. Joaquin,
Present, ma'am.
loud and clear. Thank you. Amadou Sonia,
Present, ma'am.
loud and clear. Thank you. Hussaini Mujahida.
Present, ma'am.
Okay, that was loud. Could be. All right, thank you. Badebo,
Good afternoon, and present.
loud and clear. Thank you. Isowo Peace,
Present, ma'am.
loud and clear. Chisom, Chisom Ikebudu, your mic is still muted. Are you here?
I'm present.
All right, thank you. So Chukudi is not here. Chukudi, one more time. Okay. Najat, please try saying something again.
I'm present. Can you hear me now?
Awesome. Awesome. So we are ready. We are ready. So we are going to start with a 1-minute stance. And I like that Stella and Moses take note of the timing for us. And you also time yourself so that you don't speak beyond. We need to work with our time. So the first person to give the stance is Najat Umar. Baki Adams, please get ready. So Najat Umar, kindly unmute your mic. Let's hear from you.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for this opportunity. I am Najat Umar from Sokoto. I'm going to share my perspective on the Nigeria to France Memorandum of Understanding. Okay, we've all heard the stated benefits to which I acknowledge, and I'm going to share my perspective, like I said. The Nigeria to France Tax Memorandum works under the OECD framework, that's the Organization for Economic and Cooperation Development model. So this allocates taxing rights to both nations. So my concerns on this tax memorandum, this treaty, is the issue of revenue loss. One of them is the issue of revenue loss. Nigeria might have to forgo its withholding taxes, its revenue on withholding taxes, dividends, royalties, and interest based on assumptions of increased foreign direct investments. There's also issue of data sovereignty, in which we've heard. There's issue of data sovereignty. They've not clearly stated or clearly told us as to how our taxpayers' sensitive data is going to be protected. And there's also issue of misinterpretation. There's issue of misinterpretation. The Nigeria's Tax Act law and the OECD principles. The Nigeria tax law now states that Nigeria can tax on certain services even when there's no physical presence. But the OECD principles is saying we have to have a permanent establishment. So there's misinterpretation and there's overriding of. Then also there's difference in the institutional capacity. We have, France has a more robust and a more digitized, more sophisticated tax system compared to Nigeria's tax system, which is still growing. So
Now
I
that's your
believe that
time.
they, right.
All right. Thank you very much, Najat. Baki Adams and Emanuela, please get ready.
Can I go ahead, please? Confirm I'm audible enough.
Clear, but could be better.
How about now?
Better.
All right, so thank you very much. Good afternoon, everybody. It's nice to be here and to be part of this conversation. So permit me to start by saying the background has basically set the tone of this conversation, and it's quite robust and comprehensive. My stance towards this particular topic is that tax infrastructure in itself and the sensitive data that comes with it is a critical national asset, and a critical national asset should be treated as such, as critical. And the jeopardy of the sovereignty of such sensitive data, I believe, would culminate or lead to economic espionage. That's a huge problem. In the international system, only one thing reigns supreme, and that is national interest. When two countries come into any form of bilateral agreement, each country must prioritize with utmost priority, and let me put it that way, its national interest. So when you have such international tax corporations, and permit me to say that international cooperation is very much welcome in today's international system, and you have United Nations General Assembly resolutions of various kind, permit me to cite the UNGA Resolution 8128 in December 2025, which also promoted or fostered international cooperation. But the problem is agreements like this pose certain risks, also given the, what I call it, the disparity between both nations. It might be a sad reality, but one nation is a global north, the other is a global south. And looking at history, we see years of unequal terms of exchange. Our relations are, the way we've conducted business amongst each other, one party is often exploiting the other. And this is what has informed the growing outpour against this particular law. And
Okay.
yeah. Is my time up? Yeah, thank you.
Yes, please. Yes. Thank you, Baki Adams. So we'll have to shorten the time for everybody because we still have some questions here. So we're going to use just 30 seconds and you start speaking immediately when it's your time. So Emanuela, then Joaquin, please get ready. 30 seconds, please.
Good day, Ambassador Emmanuel,
Your video,
Ambassador Valentina,
Emanuela.
Madam Zoe.
Please go ahead.
Good day, Ambassador Emmanuel, Ambassador Valentina, Madam Zoe, distinguished panelists, and everyone present here today. I am Okejo Emanuela, and I oppose the motion of Nigerian Fast Tax Memorandum of Understanding. For proper analysis, I have chosen to study the patterns of relations between European powers and African states. This is not the first MOU between France and African states. We have signed diverse of MOUs between Congo, Burkina Faso, Guinea, and Mali. Let's note that these MOUs have been renounced. Why? This is because the terms of negotiation are no longer aligned with the country's interests. I truly believe that this would not totally benefit Nigeria as much as to benefit France in the latter future. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Joaquin, then Amadou Sonia, please get ready.
Well, good afternoon with all participants. Well, my stance about the Nigeria-France MOU is that the principal concern is the fiscal sovereignty of Nigeria, because as any sovereign country, France is seeking by their interest, while Nigeria should seeking by their national sovereignty. And this MOU is a proof that Nigeria is acceding to France. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Joaquin. Amadou Sonia Hussaini, please get ready.
Good day, everyone. I'm Amadou Sonia Yusuf, and I propose the Nigerian-France tax memorandum not as a threat to our sovereignty, but as a strategic opportunity for fairness, cooperation, and economic growth. In an increasingly globalized world, cross-border trades and investments are inevitable. Without a clear tax framework, individuals and businesses risk being taxed twice on the same income, discouraging foreign direct investment and limiting economic partnership. This memorandum addresses that challenge by promoting transparency, preventing double taxation, and encouraging information exchange strictly for tax purposes. By supporting this memorandum, Nigeria positioned itself as a credible, cooperative, and investment-friendly economy while safeguarding fairness in taxation. This is not a surrender of control, but a step towards mutual benefits and sustainable development. Thank you.
Thank you, Sonia. Thank you very much. All right, so Hussaini, Badebo, please get ready. Your mic is muted, Hussaini.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, please.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, please.
Okay. The MOU is a tool for fairness and enhancing cooperation, tax administration, including digital transformation, which focuses on building capacity and sharing best practices, not giving France access to Nigerian taxpayer information. The Nigerian Data Protection and Sovereignty laws to apply. Through this MOU, we can prevent double taxation and prevent tax evasion. Now, it also gives boosts investor confidence because more countries sometimes want to invest in the country and look at the job opportunities for the citizens here in the country, reducing youth employment and in the nearest future, preventing insecurity. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Hussaini. Please work on the audio. It wasn't clear. All right, thank you. Badebo, then Iso, please get ready. Your mic, Badebo. Badebo, your mic. Okay, while Badebo is trying to fix his mic, Iso, please.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, please.
Yes, please. Okay, so for me, I feel like the Nigerian Tax France Memorandum of Understanding will do greater good than harm to Nigeria because it can help in building stronger diplomatic relations whereby education system, security, and healthcare can be imposed on France, or rather can be done by France to Nigeria due to their cooperation, due to their relationship, their international relationship. And it can also help in building a transparent system. Once a transparent system is built, where people know that their taxes are going to the greater good of the community, then more people will be able to contribute to this tax system. And Nigerian tax system will not only deteriorate, but it will become greater. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay. Badebo, Chisom, please get ready.
Good afternoon, everyone. I don't know if you can hear me. Good afternoon. I don't know if you can hear me.
We can hear you. Yes, please go ahead.
All protocols are duly observed. I will briefly highlight my stance on the subject matter. I think, other than strengthening our bilateral cooperation with France, this memorandum of understanding will do us a very big good. Looking at the digital transformation of our revenue administration, with that, we should be able to prevent cases of double taxation that are inherent in our system for now. And also, it will help Nigeria to move towards global best practices like transfer pricing so that multinational companies will not be exploiting the price differentials between their companies in Nigeria and those that are outside to reduce the tax that they're paying. So I think what we need to do as citizens is to allay our fears and trust in our governments. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Chisom. Chisom Ikebudu, kindly unmute your mic.
Okay. My main concern with Nigerian-France Tax Corporation is not the idea of agreement, but how it works in the reality. While the treaty is meant to prevent double taxation and encourage investment, I think it limits Nigerian ability to fully tax profits generated within its economy. My concern is that without strong enforcement, transparency, and renegotiation, such agreements risk deepening dependency rather than promoting sustainable development. So the real benefit to Nigeria should not only be limited to investment inflows, but fair revenue to support the public services of.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, Chisom, and thank you to all the panelists for sharing. You did an amazing job. Now we're going to go into the questions, and I have 5 questions for us to discuss. We're going to be quick. So when you're asked to speak, please unmute your mic quickly and go straight to the point. After every response, we're going to have an opposing side to that response. So kindly listen to the questions carefully and answer accordingly. My first question for us today is, what is the main goal of the Nigerian-France tax MOU and why was it needed? I'd like Sonia to attempt this question, and Baki Adams, please get ready to give the opposing side. I'll take the question again. What is the main goal of the Nigerian-France tax MOU and why was it needed? Sonia, can you unmute your mic? Let's hear you.
Good afternoon, everyone. So the main goal of Nigerian-France tax memorandum, I would list 2 or 3. First is to prevent double taxation of capitals and profits of individuals and company businesses in both Nigeria and France, because there are some foreign investors from France who have their businesses settled here in Nigeria, and through that they are able to evade tax and also avoid tax payment. Then the second one is it promotes cross-border cooperation. It brings about better cross-border cooperation between Nigeria and France. And the third one is also the transfer of expertise, technology expertise for both countries. It also promotes diplomacy by building trust. Then why was it created in the first place? I don't know if that's part of the question. So
yes,
okay, yes, it was created in the first place to support both countries. Both countries are benefiting from this memorandum of understanding. And since it's a bilateral agreement, there's space for flexibility and also there's also mutual negotiation. So both countries can state out what benefits them or what they do not agree about the memorandum understanding. And one of 2 things I'll mention that were the reason for this is because this world is increasingly getting globalized. So it's important for Nigeria to digitalize all their system, most especially their taxation system. And what better way than the support of France that already have a well-sophisticated taxation system. And also France would benefit from this because it prevents their citizens who have businesses in Nigeria from invading their tax. So it prevents tax invasion and also promotes basic economic and administrative frameworks in tax in France when it comes to tax system. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. And Baki Adams, I'd like you to discuss further coming from the opposing side, because Sonia just said that this is to give support and to avoid tax invasion. So Baki Adams, coming from the opposing side, what do you think about the MOU, the Nigerian-France tax MOU? Please go ahead, Baki Adams.
All right, thank you very much. So let's start from the basis that tax evasion anywhere in the world is a crime. And if you're a citizen of any foreign country in Nigeria and you are guilty of tax evasion, you'd be punished by the Nigerian law. Now, the main goal of this MOU, as she has listed, we have the modernization of the Nigerian tax system, the prevention of double taxation, cross-border cooperation. All these are quite important, I would agree, because international cooperation is something that the United Nations has advanced for. But the beauty of geopolitics and history is that we get to learn from history. Now, let me take you to 1950s France, specifically 1954, when an individual known as Maurice Laure invented the value-added tax in France. And the purpose for the invention of this value-added tax, which has basically revolutionized tax system in the world, was that there was duplicity of taxation across the world, that is in France. And they basically created a particular tax framework, which is VAT, to tackle this and to reduce that double taxation process that was existing. So to solve problems like this, I do not think we need an MOU. We need policy experts in the country to come together. Well, I call it a consortium of academic minds across the country to sit down, look at the Nigerian state of things, understand how digital penetration has basically moved forward, because we're also talking about the fact that this MOU is advancing the digital advancement of the tax infrastructure. But in terms of the digital penetration rates in Nigeria, what is that looking like? What does that look like for the average Nigerian who is multidimensionally poor, who basically might not have access to internet? These are some of the factors we look at. And fiscal sovereignty is still at the heart of these things. National interest is something a country must always prioritize. And when it looks like in any way or any form that your fiscal sovereignty is being threatened, it basically poses huge risk. And I'll end my submission by saying these things. The problem with this is that there are three major problems that would arise from there, and I might not be able to dive in the first is the aspect of digital colonialism I would like to cite, and that boils down to fiscal and data sovereignty. Then X-ray effect is something that would point to economic espionage. They have access to our data, they can use it against us. And finally, market manipulation is something that can be done when two parties come into an agreement and one party is exploiting the other. And this is me talking from years of facts in terms of how France has related with its Francophone countries and how these relations would basically spill into the agreements they have with Nigeria. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Baki Adams. He said something about national interest being prioritized. Okay. So I'd like to hear from Badebo and Emanuela. Badebo, you're going to be talking on the proposing side, and then Emanuela on the opposing side. Now, keeping in mind that our national interest has to be prioritized, do you think, Badebo, that this MOU could somehow still strengthen diplomatic relations beyond economics? And if you think so, how? Is Badebo on the call? Okay, he's here. Kindly unmute your mic. So do you think this MOU could strengthen the diplomatic relations beyond economics, and how? Emanuela, please get ready to oppose.
So beyond economics, we have a lot of memorandum of understanding with France in particular and other countries. In fact, just yesterday or the before yesterday, we signed another memorandum of understanding.
Your audio could be better, Badebo.
Okay, so I don't know. Is it better now?
Yes, please.
Okay, so what I'm saying is we have a lot of memorandum of understanding with France already in other sectors like trade and education. Most importantly, education. I think about 6 months ago, they promised over 200 million euros investment in our education sector. So this MOU further strengthens the bilateral cooperation between our country and theirs. Also, what I want people to understand is that France is an ally nation of Nigeria. Let's not consider the relationship between France and their former colonies, which now makes up the Alliance of Sahel states, that's Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger. They might be having a strange relationship with France, but that has nothing to do with us as Nigerians. France was never our colonial masters. They have been our allies since 1960. So I think we stand to benefit a lot. Apart from economics aspects of the cooperation, we stand to benefit a lot in terms of education, healthcare, and all of that. So I think what I would still say is we should ally our peers. Also, talking about data, and the data that will be shared with France is mostly aggregated data. Aggregated data are usually available online. Example is the GDP and the GDP ratio and other types of data. So they are not things that are hidden that we need to hide. It's not like the government will send the data of maybe a company like Dangote to France and they will use it to harm us. So I would still stand on the fact that the citizens need to ally their fears and trust in the efficiency of our tax authority, now the Nigerian Revenue Service. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for sharing, Badebo. He mentioned some key areas that every nation will want to build on, that healthcare, education. But Emanuela, what do you think? Do you think this MOU will really strengthen these areas? Do you think it will strengthen diplomatic relations beyond economics? Please go ahead, Emanuela.
Okay, I truly believe that this would not strengthen our diplomatic relations. Firstly, the citizens of Nigeria have not yet been intimated with the intricacies of this MOU. We do not know the intricacies of what has been signed by the chairman of the NRS and the tax organization from France, right? And there is already a suspicion among the Nigerian citizens. Nigerian citizens are already suspecting that their privacy is already being infringed, right? And our interests, I would like to come back from another point whereby our interests are permanent. And I said earlier that I'm studying the patterns. I have chosen to study the patterns of their relations between African states and France. And when we look at, for example, Mali's relations with France concerning tax and all, we see that they have told us that their benefits are unbalanced. So I don't truly believe that this MOU will strengthen our diplomatic relations in any way, because the benefits in the long run will become unbalanced. They are seeking influence as a state, as a European power, and Nigeria has more power in West Africa. If they are able to lay a hold on our financial autonomy, they are able to lay a hold on many other states' autonomy. Yes, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Emanuela, for sharing, talking about transparency and the citizens not being aware of what's really going on. Okay, we're going to share more on that, but I think at this point, let's get to hear from Joaquin. Let's get to understand how other countries get to operate. So Joaquin, this question is for you. Now, does your country operate independent tax agreement, or are they part of multilateral agreement?
Well, in Peru, the fiscal authority is called SUNAT, and as a part of fiscal authority, they are in charge of tax and customs. Well, in the taxes, they at the moment don't form part of any international agreement, but they try to adapt international standards and frameworks to Peru. And this is something interesting, and is one of the reasons because Peru has quite strong institutions, because they have these international frameworks and tax agreements, but they kind of adapt their frameworks to here. And that is why we could overthrow one of the major problems of Peru, that is the informality. That informality was, I think, the 40% of the economy in Peru, and we overthrown that, and we are trying to help that. But we did that by adapting these frameworks, not taking it from, not making that other country establish that framework on us. We bring that, study that, and adapt that framework to our country. Thanks.
Okay, that's really interesting. So adapting international framework. Now that's what your country did. All right, thank you so much for sharing. I like Baki Adams to share some more. Following what Joaquin just said, adapting international framework. Do you think this is a better approach? Because I see that you're strongly against this MOU. So do you think this is a better approach for the Nigerian tax system?
All right, thank you very much. I think it's a better approach, perhaps. Yes, it is. But in terms of policy decision and public policy frameworks in a country, the tax system is one that should be, will I call it, indigenous to the nation, because to prescribe a problem or to understand a problem, you have to basically leave the problem. The first aspect of public policy is that's the first part of the cycle is defining the problem. We have the problem of tax evasions, as mentioned, double taxation. I believe these are things that the National Revenue Service can basically draw up minds across the world, draw up all relevant stakeholders across the country, sit down, have dialogue. When you basically interact with all these stakeholders, all these loopholes are identified. Then we move next to the next stage of public policy, of the public policy cycle, which is drawing up the agenda. From there, we begin advancing in this, and in line with our participation in the United Nations, that's our agreement to the Charter, international frameworks through various multilateral agreements and so on are things that could be basically fostered. International, and please mind you, international tax cooperation is not something I oppose strongly. However, it is the disparity of the relationship between these two actors. You have to learn from history. Those who fail to learn from history will tend to repeat it. The fact that the kind of relationship, as fiscal relationship that France has had with its former colonial state, it's the Francophone state, has been one of exploitation. It has been exploitative. If you fail to learn from this and tend to assume that this would not repeat itself, then that is funny. And this is in line with what Emanuela made mention of, that the National Revenue Service has failed to publish this MOU. We do not know the content and details of this MOU. If transparency is basically, if the details of the MOU had been made transparent, then perhaps all this basically loopholes, all these things where we are basically filling the gaps with assumptions would not be there. So adopting international frameworks and trying to stay in line with international best practices is obviously a better way to go than getting into an exploitative relationship. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. That's very clear. Thank you. Now I'd like us to look at it from another angle. Let us see how this can shape the future of youth in economics and policy. Is there anything for the youth in this whole planning? And I would like Sowopis and Najat to take this. Is Sowopis you're going to be proposing and Najat's opposing? Now the question is, how could this agreement shape the future role of youth in economic and policy discussions in Nigeria? I'll take it again. How could this agreement shape the future role of youth in economic and policy discussions in Nigeria? So, please go ahead.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, please.
Yes, please. Okay, that's a very good question. Well, for me, I feel like as a Nigerian youth, I feel like this agreement can shape the future of the youth in economics and policy discussions by increasing exposure and awareness. Now, in just talking about this agreement, we have already learned and gathered a lot of information about, not even about Nigerian tax system or France tax system, but about tax system as a whole. And when young people understand how international agreements affect national policies, it encourages them to engage more actively in economic conversations, advocacy, and governance. It also helps in opening opportunities that help in participation in policy formation. Many young Nigerian youths feel like they don't need to know some certain things. But then, in my opinion, I feel like if you understand the economic system, if you understand tax system as a whole, because in economics now, it can help in, like other people have stated, it can help in preventing double taxation. Your knowledge of tax can help you know when a tax system is not transparent and when it is transparent. And it can also help in policy discussions. You know when tax systems are valid and when they are not. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Najat, please, let's hear from you.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. In how it affects youth engagement in engaging in political discussions. Now, like she said, it will help youth to know better, to engage and have more idea on such policies. Now, the issue of transparency, you see the memorandum of understanding that online based on the Nigeria to France treaty is actually redacted. So we cannot, as youths, how are we supposed to engage in policy making when we are not allowed to it just highlights that this memorandum of understanding is in closed doors because it's redacted. It's in closed doors and it's meant for the for the elites, for people, for higher people to see. The issue of transparency I am bringing now is there should be clarity which will enable we as youth to be able to know and understand. We need to understand better as to what the policy is talking about. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. And because of the time, we are going to go straight into the next question, which happens to be the last question before. Okay, a second. Amadu Sonia, do you have something to share on what she just said?
Yes, I would like to address three major issues here. One on transparency, data protection, and national sovereignty. Now, transparency does not come from the memorandum of understanding. It comes from the country implementing the memorandum. So the problem is not from the memorandum itself. It's from Nigeria. Nigeria has not given us a clear picture of what the memorandum states. That's why it's now a problem. So the second one is data protection. If we do not trust Nigerian Data Protection Act and agencies, this is the cause. Because Data Protection Act and agencies are there to ensure that citizens are safe and their data are safe as well. So if we trust in those agencies, we wouldn't be thinking of data protection as an issue to this memorandum. And regarding national sovereignty, this is a non-binding agreement. That means it stays within the 1999 Constitution, Section 12 of the Constitution, which states that international forces cannot bring about force of law unless enacted by the National Assembly. So therefore, it's not as if we are taking Nigerian control or sovereignty and giving it to France. There's an exit. That's what I'm trying to say, and that's what I would like to address. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much for adding that. And I'd like to open the floor for either Baki Adams or Emanuela, because I think the both of you shared on transparency and national sovereignty. So based on what Amadu Sonia just shared, do you have anything to add to this, Baki Adams or Emanuela?
Okay, I wanted Emanuela to go, but since she's not unmuting her mic. All right, just to also clarify and add to what Sonia had mentioned, she mixed something up. Now, that section of the Constitution is majorly for treaties, not for memorandum of understanding. It's when a treaty is entered into that would require the legislative arm to ratify it. However, in terms of transparency, I absolutely agree with what she has said. The fact that we do not know the content of this MOU, as I mentioned earlier, leaves a lot of gaps, in which assumptions would be used to fill all of them. And to clear all doubts, I think we have to implore, and this is why we have conversations like this. We have to, I think it becomes mandatory now in a way, a mandamus to the government institution to publish the MOU. I believe a FYA was issued to that organization, that's the NRS, to publish this MOU. But since December till date and January would end on Saturday, we do not have the details of this. So in line with Sonia's assertion, transparency is key, especially when you're dealing with data, fiscal, anything in relations to money, and let's call it fiscal economy and fiscal sovereignty. So it's quite important that the Nigerian government becomes transparent with this. Thank you.
Okay, Sonia?
Thank you so much. I totally agree with your perspective, and let's give room to the rest of the delegates to contribute. Thank you.
All right, thank you. So I'm going to open the floor for any other person that wants to say something on transparency and national sovereignty. Okay, so we're going to move forward. Thank you very much for that. So this question, the next question, which I said is the last question, is for Hussaini and Chiso. Now, Hussaini, I'd like you to, on the proposing side, please share how could this agreement affect foreign investment and trade between Nigeria and France? A very important question. I've heard so many of us say something about the economics. So how really can this affect foreign investment and trade between Nigeria and France? So talk about it coming from the benefits. Yes, please go ahead.
Ma, can you hear me?
Could be better?
Hello? Ma, can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Is
Okay,
it
hold on.
audible
Let me
now?
take this question again and try maybe come closer to your device so we hear you clearer. How could this agreement affect foreign investment and trade? How could it affect foreign investment and trade between Nigeria and France? All right, please go ahead.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Okay, we'll just work with it.
Ma, can you hear me now?
Yes, please.
Okay. So, okay, let's take for instance now, someone has a, let's say, someone from France now has a company here in the country, and then, okay, oh, how do I put this picture? Let's say you are earning in, yes, I'm so sorry. It's like someone has a company, someone from France now has a company here. Imagine let's say your income or your earnings from your work here is, let's say, ₦1 million, and they are taxed 25% of it here in the country. And when you get to your own country, you're also taxed another 25% again. That's like 500,000 out of the million. And how much do you have left? They usually cut your profit down by half. But then with the MOU coming, you can prevent double taxation. Now the MOU helps decide which country take this particular tax, who takes this and who takes this. And then if it is clear, and if it's clear like that, you can see foreign investors wanting to come and set their own businesses here in the country. It will become because they see, oh, it's been clearly stated, oh, which country will take my tax, not that I'll be taxed here, and then once my profit gets in my country, I'll also be taxed there again. You see, we're making business to earn money, we're not making business for loss and anything like that. And then the more countries invest here in the country, the more it creates job opportunities for our youth. And then if our youth have work, if our youth have something to do for themselves, we won't see them engaging in activities like kidnapping or any other thing, or going to the extreme to earn money for themselves. Thank you. That's all I have to say.
Okay, thank you very much, Hussaini. Chisom, please share. Chisom, you might need to unmute your mic, please.
Ma, I didn't get your question, please.
Okay, can you hear me clearly now? Chisom, your mic, I think you just, for now, just unmute. Okay. Can you hear me, Chisom? Your mic is muted. Okay, maybe we'll get back to Chisom, but I'm going to open this
Ma,
now.
I said I didn't get your question.
Okay, can you hear me clearly now, Chisom? I think it's the network. Okay.
Sorry, ma, you said what?
Can you hear me clearly now?
Yes, ma,
Okay.
yeah.
You can hear me. Okay. So my question is, how can this agreement affect foreign investment and trade between Nigeria and France, coming from the opposing side? Okay, I think network. So I like someone else to, the floor is open. Coming from the opposing side, I have Najat, Baki, Emanuela, Joaquin. How can this agreement affect foreign investment and trade between Nigeria and France? The floor is open.
Please confirm you can hear.
Yes, I can hear you.
All right. So, how this memorandum of understanding affects this trade relations as well as foreign investment is that exposing your country's aggregate economic data is one thing that is very problematic, and the opposing party or the benefiting party is one that can capitalize on it. Now, the problem with even saying that we are only exposing the aggregate economic data, and I believe someone had made mention of this, that it's data you can access in the general public or anywhere else. The problem with that also is that we do not have the details of the memorandum of understanding. So it becomes problematic just to go by the words of certain individuals, because the words of certain individuals is not what would be implemented when this particular MOU comes into action. When we have the details of the MOU and know what exactly in terms of aggregate economic data is exposed to France, then we begin to understand the dexterity or the gravity of what we are getting into. Now, I'd made mention of something known as the X-ray effect. That's a problem of strategic vulnerability. When certain people have access to your data, they can use that data against you. If I have information about you, critical national information about you, be it tax data in its aggregated form, and please, I think I need to clarify that aggregate economic data is not limited to GDP. It's very broad. It gives a summary or an overview of what your tax information and the information about it. Although it might involve hiding certain critical data, but until we know the details of the MOU, then that is still a problem. And this strategic vulnerability means that they can basically leverage this data and use it against the Nigerian people. Then there's also the aspect of market manipulation. Through aggregate economic data, I can basically look into an economy and know certain aspects where there are loopholes, and I can exploit those loopholes. And those loopholes will be used to my advantage against the other party. And this is how I perceive, based on existing notions, that France might leverage this. Then there's the aspect of digital colonialism. The whole summary of this conversation is balancing fiscal sovereignty, that's fiscal independence, and with national sovereignty, fiscal governance, I beg your pardon, with national sovereignty. And although it looks quite simple, it's a very critical and delicate subject, I beg your pardon. And these are things we must take into cognizance before basically running with the MOU. And I must also state in conclusion that it's just an MOU, it's not a treaty. A treaty would have been legally binding and it would have been in bad faith to go against that. But since it's an MOU, we can obviously always back out of an MOU, look inward, draw all relevant stakeholders, and create a comprehensive and Nigerian tax framework that would fix all loopholes, solve problems, solve the problem of double taxation. We do not need to rely on agreements with France to solve all these problems. These are things we can do on our own. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Baki Adams, for sharing. And from what you've said, we see that this is not something we can really depend on. This is not something a nation should depend on. All right, and we're going to hear from Badebo. He has something to share. I'd like to open the floor to the members of the audience. Please go to the chat box and put down questions or something you like to say. Okay, we could allow 2 members of the audience say something, just 2. So if you want to say something, the first 2 names I get, just the first 2 names I get. Okay, so we'll hear from Badebo. Badebo, please go ahead.
So I think what we stand to benefit the most in terms of investments between the two countries is that this MOU will increase the confidence of foreign investors, especially from France, since they now know that France will be supporting us to have an effective tax and revenue administrative system. Also, talking of aggregate economic data, most of the aggregate economic data of a country are published for a certain reason. And what is this reason? if an investor is coming into a country to invest, he has to look at some things before he comes into that country to invest. So what I'm still standing on is that we have to trust our tax authority. If there is enough trust in them, we should know that they can't make a mistake of giving data that will put Nigeria at risk to another country. So I still say we should allay our fears and trust in our authorities. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Najat?
Thank you. Contributing to what Dave said, I feel that under the OECD principles, if you remember, beginning of this, I said the OECD principles, it favors the resident country, which is France, over us, the source country, which is Nigeria. These principles, we might have to forgo or reduce our revenue on withholding taxes, dividends, interest, and even royalties based on assumptions of increased foreign direct investments, which may not fully materialize or may not fully be met. Take, for example, now France. France is facing its own financial challenges. It recorded late 2024, early 25 around 3.4 trillion euros in debt. It's in debt. France is in debt. Then it had about 5.8% budget deficit in 2024. Then as of 2025, it had 5.5% deficit. And there's a budget deficit, and which is above the mark of 3.1 EU budget deficit. Now, there's a projection that it might continue to increase. This can affect investment because they would rather solve their financial issues. What I feel it would rather solve their financial issues than go into investment. Also, Nigeria themselves, Nigeria has its own economic challenges. Nigeria has power issues. We have public unrest and a lot of things, a lot of things going on in Nigeria. These things can deter investors from investing in Nigeria. So it can affect investment this way. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Wow. Now, I like us to remember that the purpose of this conversation is to learn and see what we can do better, because everybody here will one day be in a position where they have to lead or do something critical in a nation. So when we discuss like this, it opens your mind to different things. For today, we could see the problem with transparency. There are questions. We have questions like, why are we not seeing? Why is this not open to the audience, to the ordinary man, to the citizens? So this is to make us understand better, to build systems. This is not to make us fight with the system, to fight with the government, but this is to make us see what we can do better, understand why things are going on, understand why the things are going on the way they are going on, and what we can do better. So please, let's take note. Chisom Ikebudu, don't forget, if you're in the audience, you can share at this point, but we'll hear from Chisom, and then I'll take any other person. Just one more. Thank you. Chisom, your mic, please. I think it's the network. She wants to say something. Okay, so while we're waiting for Chisom, we're going to listen to Sir Emmanuel very soon. Sir Emmanuel is going to bring a balance, because at this point, I see we are on the proposing side, the opposing sides, and we are kind of dragging. So Sir Emmanuel is going to bring a balance to our conversation today. And after Sir Emmanuel does that, we are now going to share some things we have learned. So you can start getting ready for that. Chisom, are you ready now? Okay, Emanuela, please go ahead. This is the last before Sir Emmanuel.
Okay, good afternoon, ma'am. Good afternoon, everyone, once again. I wanted to answer a question, but I was locked out, and that's in relation to if this MOU would benefit Nigeria. I would like to answer this question on the basis of considering the fact that we've not yet been intimated, we've not been told what is written exactly in this MOU, on the basis of the other MOUs France has signed with other African states. And we should not forget that one of the benefits France has had with those other French African states is they do not have to pay taxes. Their countries, their companies or services do not have to pay taxes. And we should not forget that taxes are expected to generate revenues for states or countries. So if we are making use of these basis to analyze the MOU and how, if it would help us or not, I believe it's not going to help us because these taxes are expected to generate revenues, and if French companies or French services to generate more income than our local companies, our local markets, our local services. So I truly believe that this would not in any way help our economy as Nigeria or as a state. Thank you very much.
Powerful. Thank you. And we must commend you for the great research, everyone. The great research. You know, the tax system is something many citizens are not aware of. They don't even know what's happening there. So you go out to the street and you ask 5 people what's happening with tax. They just tell you what they've heard, and that's all they know. So this is really good. It's so good to know that you've done a deep research, you have good understanding, and it's an indication that there's a lot good that's coming in the future. So I must commend the Amdora Youth Impact Initiative for this platform that makes the youth to research, to think deeply, and to come up with solutions. And now we'd like to hear from Sir Emmanuel to give us a balance for today, because we said it's not about the right or the wrong, what is right or what is wrong. We are here to learn. So Sir Emmanuel, please, can you hear us? Please give a balance. The youth have said a lot, and now we would like to hear from you. Please go ahead, sir.
Yes, thank you very much. I was actually taking notes when you guys started talking, and unfortunately, my system kicked me out. And for me to be able to hook up with you guys, I have to actually come outside my house. I wish I knew it was this exciting. I would have gone to the office because I was actually taking notes, Now, I must commend all of you for the research you've carried out. And I would like to say that whether you are in the opposing side or the other side, you are not wrong. Every one of you have a point. And it is so good that one can see our young people willing to go this length, to defend policies, Just to say this, in the first place, the reason for this tax system, the new tax, if you look at it, we have practically been operating on the kind of taxation system that our colonial masters, the British Empire left with us, which was more beneficial to them than to the rest of us. And secondly, that was a tax system that were imposed arbitrarily. If the British economy had problem, they tax. If they are going to go to war, they tax. They just tax arbitrarily. And over time, Nigeria has been operating based on that tax system. And that is why the system, taxation, has not been well received in our country. That's why people don't feel like paying tax, because the assumption is that they are paying the tax to a master. And rightly so, because for those who are who must pay tax, like those under pay as you earn, We don't actually see what the government does with this tax revenue and all of those stuff. So people are adverse to paying tax. But this system, it has a positive angle to it, in the sense that we are modernizing our tax system. We are digitizing our tax system. There will be no escape route for anyone not willing to. And one of the areas I want you to really be at rest to concentrate is that it is going to reduce corruption. Theoretically now, we will see it practically as we go on, but theoretically, it's going to reduce corruption. Why do I say so? If you look at all of those in EFCC net today, you find that only very few have hidden their stolen money in tanks, in farms, and all of those things. For many of them, it has passed through the banking system. And even when we operate with NIN, there was no obligation, there was no policy, there was nothing put in place that anything should be flagged when a senior member of government decides to use the bank to put 200 billion naira and all of those stuff. But this is going to stop that, in the sense that whatever you pass through your banking system will be flagged. It will be identified. And eyebrows will be raised, not only from EFCC now, but from the tax office. Oh, my friend, you just posted 20 billion. And at the end of the year, you are paying 500,000 in tax. No, this is the percentage you are supposed to pay from that 20 billion. So that's the first flagging. The second flagging is, how did you come about this amount of money? So that's the first area I want you guys to rest your mind on. That is going to reduce a lot of corruption. The second area I want you to also look at is that you begin to question the use of tax. I will not pay tax and still be made to do my borehole, my road, my electricity, and all of that stuff. So it becomes a lot easier to question government and say, this is the revenue on tax. What have you done with it? That is the second area I want you to look at. The third area I also want you to look at now is, why are we, it doesn't have to be France. Why do we have an MOU with a foreign country? It's a very simple thing. Data management, or big data as they call it, requires so much of electricity, power generation. We don't have that. Just 2 days ago, we were barely producing less than 100 megawatts for a country of 200 million people. A small country like Angola of about 16 million people is producing 74,000 megawatts of electricity, using less than 30,000 megawatts, and then selling the others to South Africa and all of that stuff. So if you want to house our data, our tax data in Nigeria, it's impossible. We don't have the electricity to carry it. As I'm talking to you right now, the federal government, through NIDA, Federal Ministry of Science, and Federal Ministry of Power and Science and Technology, and all of those kind of people, are presently talking with Google, not this time to house every document that you have in government in the cloud. Nigeria cannot host a cloud. We need an organization like Google to host all of our documents for us. So again, we're looking at the issue of securing our data, the privacy of our data and all of that stuff. So Nigeria has to have a country that will house our tax data. And looking at the countries, the federal government chose France. France is one country that has very serious tax system, to the point that even very wealthy people in France, some of them have left for Belgium and some other countries because they cannot escape, the stringent tax system that is put in place in France. I don't want to say that is a major, I want to say actually that may just be a major reason why our federal government felt, look, we should be talking to France. Because if you're not talking to France, you must talk to another country. Now, the reason why countries, and it's not only Nigeria now, the reason why countries take some of their data out to other countries for storage is that it cannot be manipulated by the citizens of that country. We know how Nigeria is. We know that just because of selfishness, a group of persons or even an individual that has that power can bring down our data management system and mess up everything about taxation simply because he wants to go against, and all of those stuff. So these are all the things I want you to look at. That modernization, that fact that for the first time, really since independence, Nigerians are going to pay tax. Nigerians are going to run their country. Multiple taxation is going to stop because you now have digital facts. I cannot be taxed by local government and taxed by state government and taxed by FCDA and taxed by FCTA and taxed by the federal government and then pay as you earn and all of those tax. The evidence will be there. I will be able to put it on the table and insist that my due should be refunded. Today, I think I was reading yesterday, it was said that some people under the pay-as-you-earn scheme are reporting that they're actually paying less now because it has been identified that there were certain loopholes that caused for multiple taxation even under pay-as-you-earn. Another thing I want you to look at is the informal sector. 85 to 90% of our informal sector. Unlike France, where everybody is taxed, many of these people are not taxed officially by the federal government. They are taxed by touts. They are taxed by all kinds of setups. And that's why in Nigeria, you have for every 1,000 SME that rises today, about 950 will close within the first 3 years. I have a friend in another estate close to me. He had to close. He came in from abroad and he set up a bakery. And one day I asked him, I said, what's going on with your bakery? He said, my friend, come and see. And on the wall, he showed me about 8 different taxes that he had to pay. At the end of the day, he shut down and left the country. This tax system is going to help us. I don't want us to be looking at trade now because even before this MOU, I don't know what it is, the statistics is today, but I know about 5-10 years ago, we were doing more business with France than with the UK and many other countries. France was one of our biggest trading partners. So whether we have an MOU with them or not, they are one of our biggest trading partners. And this does not mean that they are going to hold on to our funds. No. Where we ought to focus and ensure is that there is security on data management. That is one area. Of course, if at the end of the day we are in some kind of confrontation with France, of course they can hack into our system and all of those things. But that's all over the world now. Even the Iranians are hacking the Israelis and hacking the Americans, and the North Koreans are hacking everybody. So everybody's hacking who? But you have to take that risk if you want to be a global citizen. So these are all the things I want you to look at. There are huge benefits. Our institutions will no longer post $80 million lost, and then there's no footprint to trace it. You will easily trace it now with this tax system in place. So it's going to do us a whole lot of good. Now, you also look at another aspect of it, which has to do with training. We have a workforce system where everybody is boss when you come to their table, as low as the attendants in the petrol stations. Once there's scarcity, the attendant begins to boss you. Today, many of them have been retrenched. Some just sleep by their pump, waiting for cars to come in, and they greet you, sir, sir, sir. But when they used to have fuel scarcity, everybody was boss. The same thing with tax management. It is not going to be so anymore. You are going to sit down in your own house and use your system, your calculator, to calculate your tax. So you are your first tax master. You are the first person to compute your tax system, and then you go and submit this document to the tax office, who will now look at your transaction for that year and determine whether you have overtaxed yourself or you have undertaxed yourself. And when you finally pay when you are given the amount to pay, you have 30 days to query it, whether it's right or it's not right. You see, these are opportunities. The tax no longer respects any person. Whether you are the president, whether you are the Senate president, whether you are Dangote, whether you are anybody, you will pay your tax just as it's done. There are countries, I can remember some of these actors in Hollywood who missed paying their tax. And they were penalized, and they hurriedly went to pay because it's 7 years imprisonment. So countries are doing it. I don't want us to begin to think about trade now. I don't want us to begin to think about the stealing of our data. I don't want us to think about what France has done to Francophone countries and all of that stuff until we have seen the MOU. But I can tell you this, that Nigerians are not blind. If that MOU has not been seen by certain critical people in business, by certain critical people in politics, by certain technical people in academia, that MOU would not have passed. So for everybody to, those critical stakeholders like Jim Ovier, like Peter Said-Atedo, like Dangote, and all of those to be quiet means that there's something good about the MOU. At the end of the day, the last thing I want to say is that just like it happened with the subsidy removal, Nigerians in places of authority who like to cut corners tend to sabotage government policies. It happened during the Buhari regime. It happened during the Jonathan regime and all of that stuff, where a president decides to do something and announces it to his people, and they sabotage it. But here's somebody who has been governor of Lagos State. Here's somebody who has manipulated the system and understands the system very well and the people he's dealing with. And that's why he made a statement that was not in his swearing-in speech. Subsidy has been removed. If that statement was not made at the time it was made, to the surprise of everybody, today that subsidy will still be there. Today, you and I will be sponsoring billions of naira to the pockets of people who are messing us up. Today, where are those people? Their businesses are folding up. If you go to a place like Kano, Kano was one place, or is one place where you used to have almost every street in Kano, 5 or 6 petrol stations. And of those 5 or 6 petrol stations, only 2 will be operating. The other 4 is for night duty to take our fuel out of the country to border towns and other countries. But you see, for every tanker delivery that is made to that petrol station, even before it is sold, the person collects 8 million naira for doing nothing. And it is called Stabilization Fund, PAF. But today, there is no PAF. Today, those who have extended their filling stations to 40 underground tanks and 80 underground tanks don't know what to do with it. Because if you have 80 underground tanks and every tank is 40,000 liters of petroleum, you are making 8 million times 40, having not sold your petrol. And then when you sell that petrol, it goes to your pocket. But you have already made 8 million times 40 because of PAF. The same thing with this tax system. If it had been thrown open the way you and I want it to, we will not have this tax regime starting 1st of January. We can see what happened towards the later part of last year, how many people came out to discredit the tax system. Why? Because those benefiting for not paying tax, those benefiting in corruption want the status quo to remain. Today, the tax regime has come into play. There's nobody questioning it. So when it is my time to pay tax, which will be January next year, that is when I will either question it or applaud it. For those of you who are students today, you have no reason to worry. But I'm happy that you have done this research. You can talk to your parents about it, talk to your lecturers about it, talk to other people about it. When they begin to realize how our young minds are critical of things happening in society, perhaps those of us who have taken the back seat will sit up again and ensure that policies are meant for sustainability so that our children do not have to suffer the way that we suffered, especially during the military regime. So let me stop here. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity.
Wow.
Over to you.
Amazing. What do we say to Sir Emmanuel? Thank you so much.
I'm not
sir.
hearing you.
Unmute your mic, please.
Thank you very much,
Thank
sir.
you so much,
Thank you
sir.
so much, sir.
Very well, sir.
Thank
Wow.
you
Thank
so
you.
much, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Sir Emmanuel is so full of wisdom, and every time he speaks, we listen. And it's so amazing how he opens it up and makes it so simple. He goes deep into the truth that you now get to understand why things are actually happening. Now I understand what's going on. I've been reading on this, researching, trying to get good understanding why the MOU. But he has mentioned some key things that are already a problem in our country. We complain of corruption. We complain of transparency, not transparency of knowing the MOU, but transparency of knowing what our money is being used for. He answered that. And then support with power. Yes, we have a way to get power, which is something we are working on this year, but do we have it at the moment? So what he said answers these three questions: the problem of corruption, transparency, and support. And it makes a lot of sense. And he has given us assurance. He said, don't worry, let's just watch and see. Of course, there's going to be different opportunities to make amends. There's going to be different opportunities to do better. And that's why we are building ourselves. So once again, let's say a big thank you, applause, everything. Cheers to Sir Emmanuel. Thank you so much.
sir.
Thank you so much,
Thank
sir.
you. Thank you. Excited to hear from you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Now, if we had enough time, we would have taken, let's say, comments from the audience, but we've already spent all and even more time. So I will like to read a speech from our dear Madam Valentina. She's unable to speak at the moment, so she sent her speech, and this is what I will use to close this program today. So she says, the conversation has begun, and our panelists have shared their views and clearly and confidently from different perspectives. We've heard the pros and the cons, and most importantly, we've created awareness. The dialogue is not about taking sides or making final decisions, just like Sir Emmanuel said. It's about listening, learning, understanding different viewpoints, and being open to growth and enlightenment. Today is just the beginning of many more conversations like this. A big thank you to you, Sir Emmanuel. Your contributions are always valuable. Thank you to our moderator. Thank you to me. Thank you. And to all our panelists for a great discussion. To our audience, thank you so much for being here. To everyone that tuned in, thank you. We look forward to seeing you at the next dialogue. The next dialogue is going to be amazing. I don't want to spill the beans now. Let's just wait. We already had a discussion and we are cooking something. So you know the thing about us, it only gets better. It only gets better. This is the first edition and it was smooth, amazing, excellent. I'd like you to give yourself a round of applause. Thank you so much, everyone. And as we look forward to the next one, let's keep learning, keep growing, keep connecting. Thank you so much, Joaquin. Oh, everyone, let's say a big thank you to Joaquin for joining all the way from Peru. You know, he joined us earlier at 7 a.m. I think this
Wow,
should be
thank you, Joachim, for joining us. Thank you. So
Love
good to
you.
see you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Oh, merci beaucoup, Madame Jeanette Adebisi. Thank you to everyone for being here. And now we'll have to say bye. Bye-bye, everyone. And we'll see you in the next GYD. Thank you, everyone, and have a lovely and amazing day. Thank you, Sir Emmanuel. Thank you to our host, to our panelists. Thank you. Bye-bye for now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.